evening. It's Saturday the 26th of March. It's just gone 6 o'clock and welcome to our news programme. And in the news this week, unfortunately, the story continues from last week. The COVID-19 cases continue to increase, and Dorset is still significantly above the national average. The latest update from Public Health Dorset confirms that case rates have continued to rise over the last week. Dorset and the wider South West region are now significantly above the England average. So the advice is to continue to take steps to reduce the spread of the virus, including self-isolating if you develop COVID symptoms or test positive, washing your hands regularly for at least 20 seconds, and, unless exempt, wearing a face mask in busy, crowded indoor spaces, especially in healthcare settings. The latest figures were issued yesterday on Friday, and also seen a rise in the number of people with COVID-19 in hospitals in Dorset. We've now seen the highest this year in that case, with 182 people in hospital with COVID. So the current 7-day case rate is now 1,341 per 100,000 compared to last week 860.5 per 100,000. And the confirmed cases in the last 7 days were 5,093 compared to 3,268 in the previous 5 days. And as we say, the current patients in hospital are 182 this week compared to 131 the previous week. Public Health Dorset also say that it's a particular challenge in care homes and schools at the moment, with case rates very high, and they are continuing to provide advice to people working in those settings. So keep yourself safe. It looks like it's still on the rise, and it will be for some time yet. The Litter Free Dorset Challenge is back and bigger than ever before. Litter Free Dorset have teamed up with the Preventing Plastics Pollution Project to provide 250 budding Dorset litter heroes with litter picking equipment. In return for taking part in a litter picking challenge this May, participants will be able to keep hold of the equipment for future litter picks. You can take part in this year's challenge to have some fun and make a difference to your local outdoor spaces and how they look, and also benefit your local wildlife. You can sign up now for the challenge, but once all 250 spaces have been taken, then the sign up will close. So it's on a first come first served basis. Participants will be able to choose a challenge and in return receive a litter picker, high-vis vest and weighing scales. To sign up, there's rather a long website. I will read it out, but then I'll tell you an easier way to find it. The website to sign up is www.dorsetcoast.uk/the-litter-free-Dorset-challenge. Now, the other way to sign up is to go to the Litter Free Dorset Facebook page, and you can just search for Litter Free Dorset, and I'm sure you'll find the link to that sign up form on the Facebook page. Now, the sorts of challenges you can take are many and varied. You can do the 10-hour challenge, a litter pick for 10 hours in one whole day. You can do the 10 times challenge, take part in 10 litter picks throughout the month. You can do the 10-minute daily challenge, everyday litter pick for 10 minutes throughout the month, or you can create your own challenge if there's something particular you have in mind. You could also consider doing a sponsored challenge, raising money for Litter Free Dorset at the same time as picking your litter up. And this will enable them to run the challenge again next year by providing vital funds for the challenge campaign and for producing the equipment, etc. Alongside the challenge, Litter Free Dorset is encouraging participants and challenge supporters to join the Litter Free Dorset Challenge Facebook group so you can be kept up to date with all the latest information. So I think that's the starting point. Go along to the Litter Free Dorset Challenge Facebook group. You'll find the links there to sign up, and you'll get all the information that you need. So search Litter Free Dorset on Facebook and go along and see if you can help take litter out of your community and help the wildlife in your area. Now, following on from sort of litter and rubbish, this is slightly different, but Dorset Council's waste enforcement and legal teams have scored another victory in court this week, as a rogue trader from Weymouth, in fact from White Regis, was prosecuted for transporting and disposing of commercial waste at the Household Recycling Centre. or the tip as we call it, as well as failing to provide the correct paperwork. Now, I'm not naming this person, it is a White Regis person. The reason I'm running this story is for the benefit of learning, not to actually have a go at the individual. So on Tuesday the 22nd of March at Weymouth Magistrates Court, a resident from White Regis pleaded guilty to carriage of controlled waste without a proper licence, unlawfully depositing controlled waste at the Portland Household Recycling Centre, and failing to produce on request waste transfer notes for the waste he carried. The local man operated two businesses, a property maintenance business and a removals business, and in July 2020 enforcement officers were contacted by an informant alerting them that the individual was collecting commercial waste and taking it as domestic waste to the Portland Household Recycling Centre and disposing of it for free. Now, commercial waste that has been collected or produced via private business and or paid for is required to be taken to a suitably licensed site and its disposal paid for. Using public funded facilities to dispose of commercial waste leaves the council taxpayer to foot the bill for the waste that somebody has been paid privately to collect and correctly dispose of. The individual was found to have made many recorded visits to the household recycling centres at Weymouth and Portland using his vehicle. Waste enforcement officers asked to see the defendant's authority to transport controlled waste. When this was not provided, the defendant was fined for his failure to produce this document. His vehicle permit was cancelled for the tips, and it was made clear to him that Dorset Council's household recycling centres are not to be used to receive a licensed commercial waste. The individual then successfully applied for a lower tier waste carrier's licence, which is the correct thing to do, and a new permit for his vehicle. However, neither of these allowed him to transport commercial waste to the local tips. A further tip-off in June 2021 revealed that the defendant appeared to now be using a large van to collect waste for money from private clients and then transferring it into a private car to transport it to the household recycling centres or tips. Following a further investigation by waste enforcement officers, the car was seized under Section 34 of the Environmental Protection Act. During a search of the vehicle, documents were recovered linking to the two companies the individual operated. In July 2021, the defendant stated he had been self-employed for 15 years and during that time he'd engaged in waste removal as part of his business, acknowledging that this was commercial waste and he had been paid to take it away. He confirmed that he'd used his van to collect items and then used a car to take the items to the household recycling centre as he could not go onto site with his van. He was subsequently sentenced to a fine of £720 for 3 offences. He was also ordered to pay the victim surcharge of £72 and contribution to costs of £200. Laura Miller, Dorset Council's portfolio holder for Customer and Community Services, said this prosecution should serve as a warning to anyone who attempts to use the publicly funded recycling centres to dispose of waste that they have been paid to deal with. We will not tolerate this illegal behaviour and will prosecute anyone trying to flout the rules. The public can help us tackle these rogue traders by, if they suspect all waste carriers until they have provided their licence, checking their licence details on the public register for waste carriers and refusing unexpected offers to take your waste away. You should also ask how your rubbish will be disposed of and always get an invoice or receipt for your waste that they're taking away, including the contact details. So basically, if you pay for somebody to remove waste from your house and they turn up in a van or a truck or something, they need to be a licensed waste carrier or broker. They need to be able to show you the license, give you a proper invoice for the work, and they need to take that waste to a commercial tip, not to the same tip that you and I use to take our garden rubbish and our bulky items at Weymouth and Portland, because we get that free of charge for our council charge. If you're a commercial rubbish company, you have to go to the commercial tips and pay for the disposal of the waste. There we go. Moving on, from Monday the 28th of March, Dorset Council will be rolling out new car park charges in council-owned car parks across the county. The Parking Transformation Project started in 2020 to develop a more consistent approach to car parking charges across the Dorset Council area. This included a review of on-street car parking charges, council car prices and car park permits. Residents and workers in Dorset will benefit from cheaper prices through 2 new car park permits, which are now available to purchase and replace the previous, believe it or not, 76 different district and borough parking permit schemes. The short stay car park permit provides parking for 2 hours every day in the majority of Dorset Council short stay car parks and costs £78 for a year. So if you go into town or in the town centres very often and you don't need to be there more than 2 hours and you go daily, so let's say you run a small business and you have to go to the bank every day, you can pay £78 for the year and park for up to 2 hours every day in Dorset Council's short stay car parks. Then the Flexi Stay car park permit provides unlimited parking in the majority of Dorset Council long stay car parks and free parking for 2 hours every day in the majority of Dorset Council's short stay car parks. The Flexi Stay car park permit costs £25 a month or £260 for 12 months. So that gives you unlimited parking in long stay car parks and parking for up to 2 hours in short stay car parks every day for £25 a month or £260 a year. Now it seems quite a lot of money, but when you work out if you are parking every day, actually I think they are quite good value for money, and it's good that it's now consistent across the whole of the council area. Car parking charges and fines fund the operation of the council's parking services department, and any surplus the service makes goes into the highway service, helping fund drainage works, reactive pothole repairs, car park safety and general maintenance. So the charges come into effect on Portland on the 29th of March at Castletown, Chesil Beach, Portland Bill and Portland Multi-Use Car Park, and they come in at various dates in Weymouth between the 29th and 30th of March mainly, and a few on the 5th of April. So look at the specific car parks because the implementation dates are all slightly different because they all operated under different schemes. Now if you want more details on that, go to the Dorset Council website at www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk and look for the parking section and then parking prices and permits, and you'll find it all there. Going back to wildlife, we mentioned litter and wildlife earlier. Dorset Wildlife Trust has launched a brand new strategy outlining its vision and plans from now until 2030. A Wilder Dorset by 2030, that's what it's going to be called, explores the challenges facing Dorset's wildlife and ecology and sets out what it aims to do to make more space for wildlife to adapt and recover, and to enable all people in Dorset to find space and time for nature in their lives. The main goals from this strategy is 1. Restore, and that's to restore and expand habitats and the abundance and diversity of wildlife, ensuring that 30% of land and sea is managed for nature by 2030. Champion, and that's champion the natural environment, ensuring that people and wildlife benefit from local policies, decisions and management affecting land and sea. And then inspire people and communities to learn about, value and act for wildlife and Dorset's wild places, with the ambition to involve 1 in 4 people in Dorset with nature by 2030. Now very ambitious plans there from Dorset Wildlife Trust. Very active organisation. They're working throughout Dorset from Weymouth right across to Bournemouth and Christchurch over there in the east. Now, Brian Blease, who's the Chief Executive of Dorset Wildlife Trust, said, "The world is waking up to the impact of climate change and nature loss on our lives and those of future generations, and awareness of the need for change has never been higher. Dorset Wildlife Trust is here to play a vital role in leading that change and enabling people who are clearly thinking globally to take action locally. The Wilder Dorset by 2030 strategy will guide Dorset Wildlife Trust in ensuring the best possible outcomes not only for wildlife and nature, which we will continue to passionately champion and support, but also in enabling people to benefit from regular contact with nature and its positive impact on health and well-being." Dorset Wildlife Trust is also committed to the need for everyone to reduce their carbon footprint and has set itself the goal of becoming a carbon net zero organisation by the same deadline in 2030. The new strategy recognises that the ecological emergency and the climate crisis demand collective action at local, national and global levels. And so to demonstrate their commitment to contributing at every level while focusing on effective local action, Dorset Wildlife Trust has adopted the national logo of the Wildlife Trust Partnership. Now you can get more information on their strategy by going to the Dorset Wildlife Trust website, dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk/Wilder by 2030. That's Wilder, W-I-L-D-E-R, by B-Y 2030. Good work there by Dorset Wildlife Trust. Now, moving on, unreasonably warm and dry weather, which we've had this week, and we will be getting over the weekend and the start of next week, and it's been lovely, hasn't it? I've really enjoyed today and the last couple of days, has led to an amber wildlife alert being issued for the Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service area. This is the first amber alert for 2022, and hopefully we'll be getting a few more as the summer goes on. It's the first alert for 2022 in Dorset, Wiltshire. An amber alert means that should a wildfire be experienced, it could spread quickly and easily due to the dry conditions. The risk is greater on large areas of open land such as heathlands, fields and even cliffsides. And of course over the years we've seen many large heath fires. Winfrith Heath and Wareham and Wareham Forest and around those areas, and in the Purbeck. So it is very important, particularly as more people are coming into the areas, holiday makers and people are going out on picnics and things, for us all to look after our heathland and woodland. Now, the top tips for staying fire safe while out and about include: avoid having open fires or using barbecues in the countryside. Disposable barbecues and campfires are actually banned in many parts of Dorset, so be wary of that. Extinguishing smoking materials properly, and don't throw away cigarette ends on the ground or out of car windows, and take your litter home. Then, if you see a fire in the countryside, report it immediately to the Fire and Rescue Service. Early detection can prevent it from developing into a large wildfire incident. So don't assume if you see a fire that somebody else has reported it. It doesn't take 2 minutes to make that quick 999 call, and it's better for them to get 5 or 6 calls than to get no calls at all, because at least they will know about it and have people on the way to deal with it. When calling the Fire and Rescue Service, make sure that you go to a safe place. Note the location of the fire. Now, we've got lots of lovely apps on our phones, things like What 3 Words that you can download free of charge, and things like OS Locate, the Ordnance Survey Locate app, all free, all can be downloaded to your smartphones. Very good for telling the fire service where you are, but also if you have an accident or somebody's taken ill when you're out and about, if you ring the ambulance service, you can tell them exactly where you are. So highly recommend the use of What 3 Words and OS Locate. And remember, the number in emergency is always 999. And make sure you stay to meet, if you've made that call, make sure you stay to meet the fire service at the location that you've told them that you're at, so that you can make sure that they go to the right place to fight the fire. Most importantly, don't tackle the fire yourself, because you know, if it's started to spread and it's getting large, the last thing we want is you getting trapped up in fires and getting hurt or killed yourself. And if you're at the beach, don't set off flares. Make sure that any barbecues are put out, and don't have campfires on the beaches, etc. Make sure that gorse and foliage on the cliffs doesn't catch fire. Dorset Wills Fire and Rescue have said that dealing with wildfires is incredibly resource intensive, and some can take days or even weeks to bring under control. Alongside the devastating impact of the countryside, such as fires are also costly, and they can be prevented if people heed warnings and take the simple safety steps. And we can all play a part in making sure that Dorset and Wiltshire is safe from fire. Now, the coroner from Dorset is asking for our help to find the next of kin of a man who lived in Weymouth. Frederick Roy Wilton, who was 75 years old, died at his home address in Broadway Close on Tuesday the 22nd of March. His death is not being treated as suspicious, and there's no police investigation needed into his death or anything like that. But the coroner's officer, Tracy Jeans, is desperate to trace a relative or a next of kin. And if you have any knowledge of any family members, next of kin, or anybody who might know family members, if you could contact the Coroner's Office as soon as possible on 01202 123 900. That's 01202 123 900. That would be appreciated. That's looking for the next of kin of Frederick Roy Wilton, age 75, who died at his home in Broadway Close in Weymouth. Now, staying with deaths, the registration of deaths in Dorset now must once again take place in person due to the withdrawal of national COVID legislation. You've been able to do it remotely over the phone during COVID, but that did have special legislation in place for that. That legislation has now been removed as regards to the opening up after COVID, and therefore you must now make that registration in person. So from the 25th of March, that was yesterday, anyone registering a death will have to make an appointment at one of Dorset Council's registration offices. During the pandemic, deaths were allowable to be registered by telephone, but that ended yesterday because the emergency legislation under the Coronavirus Act has been rescinded. Councillor Laura Miller, Dorset Council's portfolio holder for customer and community services, said, "We know that the service our registrars have been giving over the phone has been appreciated over the last 2 years. We are waiting for the government to issue new laws covering death registration to enable it to continue. In the meantime, we will try to keep the service as safe as possible. There are a couple of small offices that cannot be opened safely, and we are asking that no more than 2 people attend the registration appointment when they register a death. We are still encouraging people to wear face masks when visiting our offices, helping to protect themselves and our teams, and to help us to continue to provide the service. Medical certificates of cause of death will continue to be sent to the registration service electronically, and an appointment can then be booked and a death certificate will be issued at the appointment." Now, as Laura said in that information, they are hoping that long-term arrangements can change to make it possible to do things over the phone, but it legally can't be done that way at the moment. But hopefully when legislation changes, there'll be a choice of either doing it in person or over the telephone, as you have been able to do during the COVID pandemic. Staying with council sort of services and Dorset Council this time, they're working closely with local voluntary and community organisations to ensure refugees arriving from Ukraine will be warmly welcomed and receive the support they need. The Dorset Together network, which includes the council, the NHS, Public Health Dorset, the emergency services, faith groups, Volunteer Centre Dorset, Dorset Race Equality Council, Help and Kindness and other local groups are working together and preparing and coordinating the county's response to any Ukrainian refugees that come to our area. The Dorset-based group Help and Kindness is helping to signpost and promote local community support groups, providing advice to refugees and local sponsors. Now, within our immediate community in White Regis, something is happening this week. There is a meeting on Thursday evening at 7:30 in All Saints Church, White Regis, for anyone, individuals or any groups that want to get involved in supporting Ukrainian refugees. So if you've registered on the government website, or you're thinking of registering, or you've got some link to the local charity in or a national charity or international charity, and you're already making links to look for people to house, or you just want to learn more, or you're part of a community group that could offer support in clothing and housing and friendship if refugees come to our area, then come along on Thursday evening, where we'll get all the local groups together to try and coordinate an approach to this within White Regis. So at 7:30 on Thursday evening, All Saints Church, White Regis. You don't need to book or anything, just come along if you're interested in helping in any way as an individual or an organisation or a group with Ukrainian refugees that might be coming to the White Regis area in the coming days and weeks. A temporary speed limit is coming to a major Dorset route early next month to allow litter picking to take place. The Weymouth Relief Road, that's the main road in from along the side of the Radipole Lake there, will have a 30-mile-an-hour limit imposed on motorists using the route from Monday, April the 4th. It's expected the temporary speed restriction is expected to remain in force for 5 days until Friday the 8th of April, and it will be operated between 9:30 and 9:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. And it will be the order will be in effect from the Jurassic roundabout all the way to Cane Down Bridge, a distance of 1,500 metres. And the restrictions are in place to enable Dorset Council employees to conduct litter picks on the verges surrounding the roads. Now, Dorset Police report that a total of 18 people have been arrested in Dorset as part of a regional operation aimed at disrupting the activities of suspected drugs networks operating in the county. Dorset Police joined forces with colleagues in the southwest, including Avon and Somerset, Devon and Cornwall, Gloucestershire and Wiltshire, to take part in the crackdown from Monday the 7th of March, under the banner of Operation Scorpion. The initiative was also supported by police and crime commissioners in the region, British Transport Police, the South West Regional Organised Crime Unit and the charity Crime Stoppers. As well as carrying out warrants targeting those suspected of being involved in the supply of illegal drugs, officers also carried out welfare checks with partner agencies to support vulnerable people who are being targeted for exploitation by suspected drug dealers, and carried out a range of educational work with young people in schools and other youth settings. Dorset Police also work with regional colleagues to monitor the road network and disrupt suspected criminals using it in their efforts to distribute drugs. As well as arresting 18 individuals involved in suspected drug offences, there were 17 warrants executed during the intensification period, and around £100,000, yes, £100,000 in cash was seized, as well as weapons including tasers and machetes. It's frightening, isn't it, when you hear that there are people in our communities wandering around with tasers and machetes. So well done to Dorset Police there. Recovered £100,000 worth of money and tasers and machetes used in connections with illegal drugs dealing. Six suspected county lines were disrupted, linked to 36 vulnerable members of the community who were visited for welfare checks. As well as gathering intelligence, officers carried out increased uniform patrols in identified hotspots, providing reassurance to members of the public. And finally, do you want to close your road for a street party for the Queen's Jubilee? Dorset Council is currently welcoming applications to close roads for street parties to celebrate Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The Council is trying to make it as easy as possible to support communities getting together safely. But if you wish to close a road or pavement, there is a process that needs to be followed. Everything about closing a street for your knees up can be found online, and applications need to be in by Thursday the 21st of April. So do look on the Dorset Council website, do talk about it amongst your community, and make sure you get those applications in by Thursday the 21st of April. Right, that's the end of our headlines tonight. God, what a lot we had in the headlines tonight. But here we go. I can have a little break now while we hear our first report. And our first feature this week is from Janet Hall. And with tomorrow, thinking ahead to tomorrow and it being Mother's Day, Janet is looking at Mother's Day or Mothering Sunday, however you refer to it. So let's hear from Janet now.
Hello everyone. I hope nobody out there has forgotten that tomorrow, the fourth Sunday of Lent, is Mothering Sunday. Although it's often called Mother's Day, it has no connection with the American festival of that name. Mother's Day is a secular festival. It originated in 1908 after a woman called Anna Jarvis held a church memorial service for her mother in West Virginia, USA. She was a peace activist and a nurse. She founded Mother's Day work clubs to address public health issues. Anna wanted people to honour the mother of the family, maternal bonds, and the influence of mothers in society. Before she died, Anna regretted the commercialism that followed and expressed that this was never her intention. Mothering Sunday comes from a much older tradition. Most Sundays in the year, churchgoers in England worship at their nearest parish or daughter church. Centuries ago, it was considered important for people to return to their home or mother church once a year. So each year, in the middle of Lent, everyone would visit their mother church, the main church or cathedral of the area. Inevitably, the return to the mother church became an occasion for family reunions when children who were working away returned home. It was quite common in those days for children to leave home for work once they were 10 years old. And most historians think that it was the return to the mother church which led to the tradition of children, particularly those working as domestic servants or as apprentices, being given the day off to visit their mother and family. As they walked along the country lanes, children would pick wild flowers or violets to take to church or give to their mother as a small gift. Mothering Sunday was also known as Refreshment Sunday because the fasting rules for Lent were relaxed that one day. One of the tastiest traditions of Mothering Sunday was the baking of the simnel cake. Often regarded as purely Easter-related confection, this rich fruitcake is also tied to Mothering Sunday as a bit of indulgence to make up for the general austerity of Lent, and a nice home-baked present to take home to your mother. Consisting of layers of cake and marzipan, a traditional simnel cake also reflects the religious overtones of the event by being adorned with 11 balls of marzipan, representing all the disciples of Jesus, minus Judas, who betrayed him. A simnel cake is a fruit cake with 2 layers of almond paste, one on the top and one in the middle. The name simnel probably comes from the Latin word simila, which means a fine wheat flour, usually used for baking a cake. But there is one legend that a man called Simon and his wife Nell argued over whether the cake for Mothering Sunday should be baked or boiled. In the end they did both, so the cake was named after both of them, Simnel. I don't know whether that story is true, but I do know that if you haven't yet bought something for your mother, time is running short. We shall be keeping the tradition of Mothering Sunday services alive with a service at All Saints at 9:30 and a family service at St Edmund's at 11 o'clock. We hope to see you at one of those. Bye for now.
Thank you very much there, Janet, and learning about Sim and Nell. You can imagine them driving around if they had a car today, probably a Capri with Sim and Nell across the top of the visor, can't you? But whether that's true or not, a good bit of cake is always good, isn't it? A cup of tea and a coffee and a piece of cake, you can't beat it. So hopefully you'll have a good Mother's Day or Mothering Sunday tomorrow, and you've got all those presents and cards that you need. And let's hope the weather's a bit like it has been today, nice and sunny and warm, and it's been really nice sitting outside for a short while today. Well, moving on, our second piece tonight. You remember a few weeks ago we mentioned in the news, in the headlines, about the success of the Langham Estates vineyard just outside Dorchester, and how it has been making sparkling wines, award-winning sparkling wines, and it's not just the usual sort of English stuff that gets criticised as being cheap and fizzy and nasty, but this is really good quality sparkling wine, award-winning. Well, this week one of the organisations that we work closely with, Everything Dorset, have been out to visit the Langham Estates vineyard, and so we've got a report this week from Wayne from Everything Dorset, who has been out to speak to the owner of the vineyard, Justin Langham.
Good morning, so this is Wayne from Everything Dorset, and today I'm at Langham Wine Estate, just outside of Dorchester. I'm here with the owner, Justin. He's going to tell us a little bit about his amazing business here. So, Justin, how long have you been here?
Well, we planted our vineyard 13 years ago now, back in 2009. We've actually owned the farm since 2004 here. And I didn't buy the farm just to plant the vineyard, it came as a sort of the next step. But 13 years since we planted the vineyard.
Fantastic. So, what's the sort of price point of your wines here? Are they budget? Are they high end? Are they somewhere in between? How would you describe them?
Well, all of our sparkling wines, and sparkling wines what we concentrate on, they're all traditionally made. There's a secondary fermentation in the bottle. So we are not in the sort of Prosecco bracket at all. Our opening prices for our classic cuvées are £29.50 a bottle. And we then go up slightly from there.
Fantastic. Okay, so obviously I guess you've got tours here people can book.
Yeah, in here we have tours. We do have guided tours, which you book on through our website. We have self-guided tours, which you can either book through the website or just turn up, and then you're given an information sheet and you walk around. But you don't go into the winery, and you don't have the winemaking processes explained to you. And then we have a tasting afterwards.
Fantastic. So I understand you won a really prestigious award recently. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, well, this was back at the end of 2020 when we won the International Wine and Spirit Competition, Sparkling Wine Producer of the Year, which for us was a huge feather in our cap. It's a global competition, 29 countries entered, or wineries from 29 countries, 720 entries in total, 250 from the Champagne region alone. And we came top. We beat the previous winner was Veuve Clicquot, and which you may have heard of, and yeah, we came top, which was a huge feather in our cap, and has done us a lot of good through publicity and recognition.
Oh, great! Congratulations for winning that award. That's fantastic. So I believe you only use your own grapes here. Is that correct?
Yes. One of the things we feel very passionate about here is we want to do everything ourselves. We only use our own grapes from our own vineyard. The winery is all on site. Every aspect of the winemaking process we do entirely ourselves, because we feel to achieve the quality we are aiming for, we can't subcontract any part of the process to somebody else. And buying in grapes, we feel will never have the same quality as our own grapes we can grow here. So this is very paramount to us to achieve the highest quality. We have to do everything ourselves.
Very good, very good. So how would somebody find your business, Justin? Whereabouts are you located?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, whereabouts is your business in Dorset? How could people find you?
Well, we're here right in the centre of Dorset. We're about 8 miles from Dorchester, just off the A354, basically halfway between Blandford and Dorchester. And we do have some signage on the A354, but if you look at our website, Langham Wine, it'll all be there.
Brilliant. And you're also on social media, are you?
Yes, Instagram and Facebook and all of those things which I personally don't really understand, but my team do. And yes, we
fantastic.
Do that, yes.
So people can come into your shop, order wine, and they can order online as well, can they?
Yes, we have a website. You can buy everything online, and as I say, you can book our tours online. We insist you do book our tours online through the website. But you can buy our wines, or you can come and see us to have a tour. We have a cafe and restaurant. You can come for lunch, taste our wines, and buy.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great talking to you today, Justin, and have a great day and good luck with your whole winery here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers.
There we go, and thank you very much to Wayne there from Everything Dorset 8 visiting Justin Langham of Langham Vineyards. So if you didn't know, right in the heart of Dorset, 8 miles from Dorchester, we have a sparkling wine producer with everything produced from Dorset, the grapes and everything, which is the Global Award winner. So there you go. People probably wouldn't realise that, and it's a nice trip out. Now if you want those proper guided tours with a guide, you can book it online on the website. If you just want to turn up and do a sort of a self tour yourself, where you don't get to see everything but you can see most of it, and there's a nice cafe there and everything as well, so you can go out and have some lunch. It's a nice little trip out, and of course you can buy a bottle of wine and bring back, although bear in mind they do start from around £30 a bottle, so it's not the cheap stuff. It is really good award-winning high standard wine. But there you go, if you didn't know that, right on our doorstep here in Dorset. Now, talking of right on our doorstep and things you might not know about, I'm hoping you might know about the next item if you didn't know about Langham Estates. This week I was talking to some colleagues about what tourists might do if they come to Dorset this summer. Because the one thing certainly in our part of Dorset here in Weymouth is we don't have lots of large attractions for holidaymakers. We have things like the Sea Life Centre and we have things like the Knowth Fort, which are our larger attractions, but that really is about it. We've also got our Pavilion Theatre for shows. What we do have though is lots of small nice attractions that are run by various organisations, and one of those that came to mind this week is the D-Day Centre in Castletown in Portland. Now, I don't know if you've paid it a visit or if you even know that it exists, but it's a tiny little sort of museum focused on D-Day and the role that Portland as a port played in D-Day. So it's an authentic recreation of a busy wartime Portland dockyard from 1944. Thousands of American troops of the 5th US Corps and the US 1st Infantry embarked bound for the heavily defended beaches of Nazi-occupied France from Portland. The centre features an impressive array of original World War II artefacts, weapons and wartime vehicles, including a full-size replica Spitfire, a Bofors 40mm gun and even a restored Sherman tank. The centre actively encourages visitors to handle the weapons, climb on the vehicles and even dress up in authentic World War II uniforms and get in the mood. The centre features an impressive array of original artefacts. Castletown D-Day Centre offers a unique chance for the young and old alike to remember or indeed learn for the first time the important role played by the Port of Portland during the Allied invasion of northern France and the great bravery of thousands of American, British and Allied troops that departed that day. So, and of course so many of them who would lose their lives and not actually come back home. This week the museum has put up a short video and I thought for our last feature tonight I'd share this little video which captures everything it's about very neatly and aptly.
It's a tribute. It's a tribute to the American soldiers that left here from here in Weymouth and also to the people of the island. It covers the whole thing, from them landing, going to France, to what the impact was when they were here and also when they left.
Instead of being lectured about it or reading it on the board, you can actually feel the uniform, try on equipment, feel how heavy a weapon is, and I think that's a really special way of showing history.
I would say that this little museum is probably one of the best I've ever been to. It's so interactive and interesting and informative, and obviously with the local history as well.
It's the only museum I've ever been to where I can get on a World War II motorbike, I can get in jeeps, I can fire guns, I can dress up, I can feel the weight of the garments they wore. It's just everything, and hear it as well.
So there you go, for locals and visitors alike, the D-Day Centre at Castletown and Portland. If you haven't paid it a visit, why not go over there and have a look and see the artefacts and how they've made this very impressive little museum right in the heart of our community. Now it's that time in the programme where we go to the weather, and first it's the national weather forecast, and this week our forecast is delivered by Luke Mile.
Hello again, lots of blue skies and sunshine to come with our weather through this weekend. Settled and dry with high developing and a bit more of a breeze across that southeast corner through the English Channel, so feeling a touch cooler at times here. And that gradual easterly breeze will just start to drift some low cloud, mist and murk in off the North Sea as we go through into the early part of Sunday. So for here, turning grey, misty and a little bit murky, but out towards the west, where we have those clearer skies, we'll once again see another quite cold night into the first part of Sunday morning. So subtle differences, I think, with Sunday. We will see more in the way of cloud across those eastern areas of Scotland and England. Some of that drifts its way into the Midlands and central southern England, I think, through the day. So for some places, quite a contrast to Saturday. Still dry, but more in the way of cloud around. So I think temperatures will struggle under that cloud. We may only get to highs of 11 to 13 degrees, which will be several degrees down on Saturday. But some of the highest temperatures will be for the likes of Devon and Cornwall, parts of southwest Wales, maybe Northern Ireland. We could see 17 or 18 degrees here. Now, as we look ahead in towards the start of next week, high pressure stays close by, but it does start to just dwindle to the north. And what that means is we start to see our air coming down from the northeast. So through Monday, Tuesday, still much more of the same weather, if a little bit more in the way of cloud. But by Wednesday and going onwards into the week, we start to drag in some colder air from the northeast. So things are set to turn colder for many areas by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures coming down much closer to average, possibly even a touch below. So quite a bit going on with our weather going ahead. Of course, on UV levels, you can stay up to date with those on our website. But for the weekend weather forecast, you can check us out on our social media, and I'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much, Luke, for the national weather forecast there, and a quick look at our local forecast for the days ahead. You can see that tomorrow, Sunday, is going to be a nice sunny day, but as Luke mentioned in the national forecast, things deteriorate as the week goes on, and certainly when we get towards Wednesday and Thursday and into Friday, it's much colder again, and some of that wet stuff coming back again this week. But let's hope it won't be for too long, and let's hope we get back to this nice sunny weather again soon. Now, looking at our traffic and travel this week, what have we got coming up this week? On the trains this weekend, there's a bus replacement service between Southampton and Bournemouth and Reading and Basingstoke for the extent of the weekend, but there are no notifications affecting services during the week for services running out of Weymouth, so that's good news. On the roads locally, there are still roadworks on Buxton Road. Oh, those have been going on for several weeks, or several months actually now, haven't they? But they should finish soon. Never know, next week might be saying that those roadworks have finished. Also roadworks and traffic controls at times on Portland Road near Ferry Bridge. Also roadworks in Emerson Road, Roman Road, Turnstone Close, Beaumont Avenue, Lodmore Avenue, Chickerell Road near the junction with the Granby Industrial Estate, and that's Emergency Gasworks, and St Anne's Road. Now moving to what's on. At Weymouth Pavilion coming up 31st of March, Beautiful Noise celebrating the music of Neil Diamond. That's getting actually rave reports on the national tour of that, so if you like that sort of music and there's still some tickets left, that would be a good one to go to. 1st of April, One Night in Dublin. 2nd of April, Queen, a dazzling tribute. 9th of April, the Hijacked Hollies, music of Buddy Holly. And the 13th of April to the 16th of April, always very popular in Weymouth, Wow are presenting Grease. 17th of April is the Dinosaur Adventure. That's an interactive thing about dinosaurs with big moving dinosaurs and digital projections and all sorts of stuff. That's getting a lot of publicity, so that's well worth a look as well. The Noath Fort. We have got Easter at the Noath, starting on April the 9th and running through to the 16th. Dorset Arts Week, May the 21st to 29th. And of course, they will be involved in the Platinum Jubilee celebrations from the 2nd of June to the 5th of June. And they've got one of their Victorian weekends, the 23rd of July through to the 24th of July. And as I keep saying, if you are running anything or planning anything for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, do drop us a line here at White Regis TV. We're starting to put a programme together of what's going on locally, and we will start to be pushing that out soon. So do let us know. Tea parties, concerts, open gardens, whatever it is. Drop us an email at news@WhiteRegis.tv. Now, we haven't got time for a film review this week. We've had a rather lot in our news headlines, so no film review this week. So it just remains for me to remind you Regular services tomorrow at 8 o'clock at All Saints Church and 9:30 at All Saints Church and 11 o'clock at St Edmunds. Remember, it is Mothering Sunday, so if you want to come along and enjoy the celebrations of mothers, either at All Saints Church or St Edmunds Church, you'll be most welcome. Tonight we have our usual live online Saturday night quiz at 7:30, which is not far off now. I should be getting ready for that when this programme finishes. The stream will go live at 7:15. The quiz goes live at 7:30. Now, if you're one of the regular attenders of that, just to note, next week, 2nd of April, I think it is. I didn't write the date down, but I think it's 2nd of April. There won't be a live quiz online. There is a live quiz in White Regis in person at the Memorial Hall as a fundraiser. So if you're interested in tickets for that, either go to the Parish of White Regis website or drop us an email here at news@whiteregistv, and I will pass your details on to Jeff Thomas, who's the organiser. I will be there doing that quiz directly after the news next week. And so those that join online and are not local, we will have a pre-recorded quiz that will go out at the usual time, but it won't be me live. It will be me pre-recorded next Saturday. But if you're local in Wyke or Weymouth, do come along to the live quiz at the Memorial Hall. A bit of fundraiser, there'll be a bar there, and there's about 80 or 90 tickets available. And last time we did one, it was an absolutely brilliant evening, enjoyed by all. So that brings us to the end of this week's programme. I hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend and enjoy the sunshine. I hope the week ahead is good for you. If you've got any of those stories or any events coming up, don't forget, let us know here at White Regis TV, news@whiteregistv. And other than that, I look forward to being with you at 6 o'clock next Saturday for our next news programme. Good evening and good weekend.